Astral has reported its first annual loss in its 23-year history. The poultry group has had a tough time. It's faced rising costs due to load shedding, water disruptions and bird flu. Those challenges collectively cost the firm 2.1 billion rand over the past year. The group has also had to face weak demand. Cash-strapped consumers have turned to cheaper sources of protein as a way to save money. Looking ahead, Astral says in 2024 the focus will be on rebuilding its balance sheet. Netcare has identified its new CEO, but the candidate is not yet available to take up the position. And so current CEO Richard Friedland has agreed to stay on for another 6 months. Friedland was due to step down in September 2024. Netcare has not indicated who the candidate is. The update on the private hospitals group leadership comes alongside the release of the firm's annual results. For 2023, revenue rose to 9.5%, while profit jumped just over 27%. A total dividend of 65 cents per share has been declared, which is a 30% improvement on last year's payout. In 2024, Netcare hopes to increase revenue by at least 7.5%, and it is hopeful that it can continue to reward shareholders with more share buybacks and special dividends. Barloworld has upped its annual dividend. The industrial conglomerate has declared a final payout of 3 rand. This takes the total dividend for the year to 5 rand and reflects growth of 8.6%. That as the company reported a 5.5% increase in headline earnings per share from continuing operations. Lower fertilizer prices have weighed on Omnia. The crop nutrients manufacturer has posted a 4% dip in half-year profit. Fertilizer prices have come off record highs from the past 2 years as things have settled following global supply disruptions and the impact of the Russia-Ukraine war. The firm had been concerned that the El Niño extreme weather conditions would also weigh and dampen demand for fertilizer, but this hasn't been the case, with volumes increasing during the period. PPC is back in the black. The cement maker has posted headline earnings per share of 26 cents for the half year. That's from a loss of 5 cents previously. The improvement comes as the group managed to lift volumes and increase prices. Commenting on the results, PPC CEO Roland van Wijnen says the period under review reflects an encouraging recovery for the group. Robust, that's how Sirius has described its half-year performance. The property fund has reported a 7.3% rise in revenue. That's thanks to a 7.7% increase in like-for-like rent roll across the group, which with a notable 7% uptick in Germany and a 9% jump in the UK. The firm says this puts it on track to achieve its 10th consecutive year of more than 5% like-for-like rent roll increases at the group level. Along with the release of the group's interim results, Sirius also announced a £145 million capital raise. This will involve a mix of institutional and retail offerings, including an accelerated book build process, a South Africa placing, and a retail offer through primary bid. The funds will be used for a series of near-term acquisitions. Brickor has managed to post a half-year profit. The building and construction material supplier and manufacturer's headline earnings per share have come in at 2.7 cents. This was supported by a 13.4% rise in revenue. That's thanks to improvements at the firm's bricks and coal units. No dividend has been declared. Further afield, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella says that ousted OpenAI CEO Sam Altman and Greg Brockman will be joining Microsoft to lead a new advanced AI research team. Let's take a look at this report for more.
Ousted OpenAI boss Sam Altman has a new job. Microsoft chief Satya Nadella says he'll be leading a new advanced AI research team at the Silicon Valley Titan. The news comes after a weekend of confusion over Altman's fate. He was ousted as boss of ChatGPT firm OpenAI on Friday, with the move sending shockwaves through the tech sector. The board of the chatbot maker said he was responsible for a breakdown of communications. But Altman was then spotted at company HQ in San Francisco on Sunday. That's according to tech publication The Information, which says he was invited back by interim CEO Mira Murati. Reuters reported that he was considering a swift return and big changes to the company's governance. Later the same day, The Information reported that he definitely would not come back, despite the apparent efforts by executives. It cited a statement by a board director. Instead, Reuters sources say former Twitch boss Emmett Shear is OpenAI's new interim CEO. He co-founded the Amazon-owned video streaming service, but stepped down earlier this year. Microsoft's Nadella said he looked forward to working with Shear and the new leadership team at OpenAI.
And over the past weekend, Elon Musk's SpaceX Starship launch failed minutes after reaching space. Let's head over to our reporter Dowling Lachela for more detail on what happened. Dowling.
Well, Zinati, an uncrewed SpaceX spaceship blew up in a flight test, and this wasn't the first time this has happened. And joining me now with greater insight is Lars Halter with Deutsche Welle. Thanks for your time today. Now, Lars, what can you tell us about what exactly happened to the spaceship?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Correct, this was not the first time a SpaceX test flight didn't go as planned. It was the second time in as many flights. There was a similar situation in April, where an initial test mission ended after only 4 minutes, also in an explosion. Now, let's look at what happened this time. The two-stage rocket ship had blasted off from the company's Starbase launch site in Texas. It got as high as 148 kilometers above ground, and it was supposed to complete a 90-minute mission to space and back. But then the rocket's super heavy first stage booster exploded over the Gulf of Mexico. Now, the core Starship stage boosted further towards space, but a few minutes later, mission control suddenly lost contact with the vehicle, and it became clear that something had gone wrong and triggered a command to destroy the craft. Now, the exact reason for all this is unclear, and it will take a while to find out what went wrong. The investigation, according to the government-run FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, has already begun.
Now, is this the end of the SpaceX program?
No, quite the contrary. The mission might have ended in an explosion after around 8 minutes, but that means the spaceship got around twice as much flight time as the first mission in April, and that means tremendous progress. And that is definitely the narrative SpaceX is pushing. According to one source, and I quote, "More things were successful than in the previous test, including some new capabilities that were significant." Now, SpaceX has been pretty successful by doing something that has always taken government-run space programs a lot longer. It has shown a tremendous risk tolerance, meaning the company has a culture that embraces fast-paced testing and retesting of prototypes to hasten design and engineering improvements. Of course, it's not exactly as easy as it sounds. Starship's failure to meet its test objectives is still posing some setback for SpaceX. But that's because the FAA will need to review the company's investigation, and unsurprisingly, SpaceX officials have in the past often complained that such regulatory reviews are taking too long.
And what is the ultimate goal of Elon Musk's spaceship program, Lars?
Well, let's look at different goals here. For now, NASA is SpaceX's primary customer, and they say that SpaceX Starship will play a central role in landing humans on the moon within the next few years under its human spaceflight program Artemis. That is the successor to the legendary Apollo missions. And NASA, despite recent failures, is fully on board. NASA Chief Bill Nelson just said that this weekend's Starship test was, quote, "an opportunity to learn and then fly again." I'm sure he can't wait because, like we've seen before, any mission to outer space is always part of a space race as well. This time it's mostly with an eye on China. Now, besides what NASA has in mind, though, if you ask Elon Musk, the ultimate goal of his company's missions could lay a lot further than the moon. He said before that he ultimately wants to go to Mars. As a matter of fact, Musk is a firm believer of human colonies on Mars. Sounds crazy? Certainly, but for Musk, I guess it's par for the course.
Thanks for that update. We'll definitely keep an eye out for those developments. That was Lars Halter from Deutsche Welle.